Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Anybody?
Kieran.
And Lee.
I know it.
There is a slight delay there.
I know it's been a while.
Might have to do that again.
We only ever do one take. You should know that by now.
To do that again.
Oh boy! Just before we kick things up tonight, I just want to thank everyone that's sent me messages over the last few weeks. I probably haven't had time to reply to everyone, but just want to thank everyone for sending messages, kind thoughts. You know, me and my mum really appreciate it, and just thank you massively. It's really helped us through. Right, time to talk bollocks. Have we missed anything?
Not a lot.
A few bits, one or two.
Almost could have missed tonight, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's been now going on, has there? Where the hell do we start?
Congratulations, Grand Prix winner and friend of the podcast, Lando Norris. I think is a good place to start.
That is a very good place to start, and to Abby Pulling as well for a double win at the weekend. So, as Flood tweeted yesterday, being on this podcast does get you places, like the top step of the podium. That is now every F1 driver that's been on this show has won a race, all 5 of them.
That's pretty good. That's a good statistic.
It is. Oh, hang on. I think.
What's happening here?
I think Kieran disappeared and now he's back. I thought you'd gone a bit quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Good, right. Of us talking before the podcast, the second you hit record, fucked off.
You were a little bit muffled then.
Oh, well, I'll speak more squeakily.
Yeah. So Lando Norris, race winner on the, what was it? Something like his 115th start or something along those lines.
110th.
110th was it?
Yeah. He's beaten Jensen by 3.
But of course, you know what this means.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Heidfeld is back to being the driver with the most podiums with no wins. The world of disappointment is reopened for business.
They said he couldn't do it, and they were wrong.
Oh, God.
And there's no one on the grid currently that's anywhere near. Piastri might get there one day, but no one is near that record at the moment. Everyone's a good 10 or so away.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a record that is going to stand for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's a big world of disappointment out there. Right, other things that have happened. Adrian Newey. That's been the big one. Had a contract.
Biggest F1 move of the year.
Yeah,
I don't care what anyone says. That's bigger than Lewis Hamilton.
Well, I mean that could it's bigger because it could make Lewis's move bigger, but that would be next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of talk about where he's going to go next. He's saying he's going to travel and see the world, which for somebody who's been in Formula One, which is a global sport, which races in many different countries, surely the one thing you'd want to do is have a few weekends at home.
I suppose the point is you travel, but you probably don't see much of the world.
That many Premier Rings of downtown Shanghai and Kuala Lumpur are not to be sniffed at, frankly.
I'm going to guess, though, that he's got slightly more wiggle room than the average mechanic has when it comes to being in the different countries that they're at.
Mm. You would have thought so. I mean, he's probably sketched his escape route out of every paddock, and it'll be the quickest one. Not necessarily using the normal exit as well.
So where are we thinking then? Where are we thinking he's going to go?
Well, I don't know.
Get to it.
Ferrari is one of the contenders, but but they would probably insist on him moving to Italy, and he's said before he doesn't want to live outside the UK.
Yeah.
Even though he mostly works from Cape Town now.
But apart from
that's what they were talking about on the Sky at the weekend. Yeah.
Oh. Missed that.
Yeah, it's all to do with the boat testing stuff, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
But would anyone want to throw themselves headlong into the tumultuous world of Maranello?
I suppose it's for the same.
Would,
Yeah, it's for the same sort of reason that Hamilton's doing it, isn't it? It's to prove he can.
I think the reason Hamilton's doing it is desperation. It's the last roll of the dice.
There's probably some money in there as well.
yeah, I think the problem is Adrian hasn't got anything more to achieve, and Lewis wants that 8th. So, and Lewis is a lot more time. Well, they're sort of time barriered. I guess Adrian is kind of time barriered by his pension, but I think they both want glory, clearly, but otherwise, and this whole stupid thing about Adrian, he's just going to take some time now, he's going to sail around the world, he's going to explore Antarctica and all that. Then why did he get out of his non-compete clause? What was the point in that if he's just going to sit on a lounger for 2 years?
I reckon it was to shut Eddie Jordan up because he was constantly barking at him going, I can get you out of that, I can get you out of that.
Eddie Jordan is his manager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he just turned around to
shut
EJ
up?
and said, yeah, okay, just fuck off, go do it. Yeah, right. See you later. Oh shit, you have.
What do you mean I'm sacked?
I mean,
Eddie, you know what's nice this time of year? Neptune. Lovely.
I mean, you say he wants to sail around the world, but he's currently in the process of trying to design the fastest boat in the world.
Yeah, so it won't take him very long.
Oh, he's efficient. Yeah.
So, yeah, Ferrari's on the agenda. There was talk of McLaren as well, but he's won with them. You know.
Just quickly, sorry, before we keep going on this, because we mentioned EJ, because I was quite surprised. I didn't realize he was his manager, and then when I found out like that he's basically finagled or like finessed the situation where he doesn't really have to do gardening leave, and it's he can leave in the first quarter of next year, and the first quarter of next year could be the 1st of January for all we know. That just goes to show that like crazy Eddie Jordan that looks like, I mean, if we're all perfectly honest, it should be in some sort of home with somebody like sponge bathing him. That's clearly like a tactic.
Oh yeah, I am thoroughly convinced Eddie Jordan is a carefully created construction of the real Eddie Jordan.
It seems like it would seem that. No, I'm 100% with Sean. Like I'm fully on board with Eddie Gate.
This is Paul McCartney died in 1964, is it?
No.
Oh no. There is one Eddie Jordan, but the Eddie Jordan he presents to the world is the sort of slightly bumbling novelty. Oh, look, it's Eddie.
Yeah.
But inside, everything is business.
As a certain retired wrestler once said in a trial, yes, Hulk Hogan may have a 12-inch penis, but Terry Bollea doesn't.
Or like Lorraine Kelly when she claims she's playing the part of Lorraine Kelly for tax purposes.
I'm gonna try that like tomorrow when I put my return in.
The role of Lee Stevens this year was played by Lee Stevens. Americans, Google Lorraine Kelly. It's easier. The woman who has a show named after her but only presents it about once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the time somebody else is playing the part.
Well, very good. Yeah, it's all tax.
We're not doing a great deal to dispel Statman's myth that we're tax exiles over here, are we?
No, we haven't.
How is a certain soon to be ex Mercedes driver's private jet going?
I think he sold it, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the end.
No?
Yeah.
No, don't think it might be registered over here, but I don't think he or any of his subsidiary companies own it.
Yeah, it feels more like someone was sort of shedding some heat, doesn't it? If we're all
Getting back to Formula One, yeah. McLaren was another one that was brought up, but he's already had success with them.
Yeah, I don't think go back.
And judging by this weekend, they're doing all right.
That's the other thing you've got to consider with like a team like McLaren, for instance, and Ferrari to a certain extent, even though we believe there's an offer being put forward. I think Ferrari would take the gamble more, but McLaren, which has been like they put themselves in a position where they got the Renault engines and they realized there was something wrong, and Zach Brown essentially came out, did a public thing of saying this is a multi-year recovery program now, and it's going to be like 5 or 6 years on our way to get to the front. I can't actually remember a team which was so open and honest about the trouble they were in and laid a plan out of how they were going to get themselves out and have executed that plan pretty well so far.
Right up to the having executed that plan. How about the Renault's 3-year will be winning world championships? With the aforementioned Renault engines.
That's fair.
The Tony Fernandez Lotus 5-year world championship promise back in 2010.
Tony Fernandez, there's a character I'd completely forgotten about.
But like the McLaren, like you risk destroying what they're doing if you bring Adrian Newey in.
Yeah.
He needs to go somewhere that's broken, not somewhere that's already kind of building their own thing. Because if he goes somewhere where there is a team and it's not his team, they'll
like
move somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. There's no point in him going to a family that's already got a dog.
Yes.
Maybe tomorrow he'll want to settle down. And that leaves the other two that are out there. Now, I know I said McLaren is doubtful because he'd already had success there before, but the strong rumours that James Vowles has been trying to talk him into going back to Williams.
I don't think it's a rumour. I think James Vowles has said he's spoken to him.
They talked about it on the coverage. David Coulthard was one of the commentators for F1 TV, and that's where his money is. He said, as far as I can see, he said, I think that's for them to offer him the best salary package they can and a stake in the team. So he's not just working for a team, he's working for a team that's partly his.
Because that went well when they did that with Paddy Lowe.
Well, yeah. But let's be fair. Paddy Lowe didn't forget to do his job overnight. There has to be extra things that happened in there. I think one of them might be called Claire,
who was allegedly there at the weekend.
Was there? Yeah,
she was there.
She was there. She was just not in the mood for being interviewed.
Very classic Claire Williams that she turns up to something and the rivals win.
And the team falls apart. How weird.
And Albon spent most of the weekend at about 40th, and Sargent was backwards twice throughout the weekend.
I mean, Sargent's got that many home races; he can afford to crash multiple times in each of them. But aside from Williams, the other one that was mentioned was Aston Martin.
Oh no, I've heard another one mentioned.
Oh,
Mercedes. I
was going to get to Mercedes in a minute. Because I think Mercedes is possibly the most likely.
Yes, that's where my money is.
But yeah, Aston Martin, apparently it would be all on Aramco's money rather than Stroll's money, so that when Aramco buy the team, Newey's still got a place. Because I still think Stroll's going to sell out to Aramco at some point, because he's just sold 30% of the equity in Aston Martin to an investment company, and I reckon he's trying to divest himself of it because he's too much of a coward to tell Lance that he can't drive anymore.
Can't drive anymore suggests at some point he could drive.
Yeah, that's true.
But he had a cracking week in 2020.
Do you know what the annoying thing is about Lance? He had a couple of cracking overtakes through that race. Like there's like he's not Maldonado. You know, like Maldonado, the Grand Prix winner, I must add. But the
last winner for Williams.
It's the problem with Lance is he's been there so long, and he still looks like the guy we go, oh, he might have potential, but it's like 15 years he's been in the sport.
And yeah, those couple of good overtakes were cancelled out by the penalty he got.
Yes, that's not ideal.
Yeah, but yeah, I think. My microphone's doing the collapsing thing.
Oh heck!
And now I've reattached it backwards. Right. Let's try and glue this back together.
This makes riveting listening.
But I reckon Mercedes is the most likely.
Yes.
Because on the negative side, it has been said that him and Toto Wolff don't get on. But Adrian Newey was designing the America's Cup entry for Team Ineos, which is majority funded by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who owns a third of Mercedes. So they've already got a good working relationship there.
Mm-hmm. Ineos is one of the title sponsors of Mercedes, isn't it?
They own a third of the team.
Yeah.
Mercedes is actually 1/3 owned by Daimler, 1/3 by Toto, and 1/3 by Ineos. So,
just as a quick wake-up call for just how much money Toto Wolff has.
Oh, it's a lot.
He's sort of a businessman, isn't he? And he's a businessman that's sort of lucked into owning it, or not owning, but CEO in a team.
Mm-hmm.
He's a slightly failed racing driver who just fell into business.
Yeah, he was a racing driver that couldn't afford to get a decent seat, ironically.
Stephen Bartlett F1.
But yeah, I reckon Adrian Newey's in with more of a shout at going to Mercedes because they obviously need help. Jim Ratcliffe is prepared to throw money at anything to make his sporting operations better. The amount of money that he's put into the America's Cup team, everything that he's trying to do with Man United at the moment, that he's just bought a large chunk of. Mm-hmm. And if the opportunity is there to buy Mercedes more titles, then that's my thinking behind why we'll see Adrian Newey at Mercedes. Sean, what's yours?
One, the fact that Toto and Helmut Marko kept getting spotted together at the weekend, so they obviously had a lot to talk about. But also, Mercedes is probably the most broken that has something to properly offer him. So obviously they've slipped in the last few years, but we've seen them doing weird things with cars, like the side podler stuff, and they have an interesting and quirky aerodynamic approach that if he can make work would be a sort of a big celebration for him. I think if he could go in there and make their weird shit work, that would be a sort of like a big finish to his status, I think.
I think you would, although it's not like apples for apples, I think you'd have a fairly good argument with somebody if you were to turn around to them and say, like last year's side podless Merc, if he could get to work, I would argue he's got it to work this year on the Red Bull.
Yeah.
I think he's going to Ferrari. I think it's all romance. I think he's earned enough money in his lifetime to build his little sailing boat off South Africa. I think he will take 5 or 6 years building a Ferrari, making Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc world champion, one of them.
So Lewis,
and yeah, or Charles Leclerc, making Antonio Fuoco world champion. And
do they still own Antonio Fuoco?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he's working down at Poundland.
Euroland, surely.
Yeah. I think he'll go to Ferrari. I think that whilst everyone has a price, I don't think he'll appreciate being bought out by Aramco money, and I don't think he likes Toto enough to be bought out by Daimler money. Therefore, he'll take the pasta money and go to Italy.
See, I keep hearing this, the people saying, "Oh, well, he doesn't really need the money. He doesn't really need the money," and that's true. You know, he's probably done better at Formula One than most drivers have done. However, in the crooked world we live in, money's a really, really good way of showing everybody else your importance.
Yeah,
and I think he's, although comes across as quite a reserved guy, I think he's quite prideful of what his input is in these teams. There's been talks that his he's not happy at the way that his input into Red Bull has been diluted, by the constant praising of like the rest of the team, where he thinks that there's probably still a little bit more Newey than just the rest of the team in the car. So, I think two things could happen. I think a big money deal would like solidify to people just how important he is within the sport. For the big money deal, if it's going to be something like that, I'm going Aston Martin, because they will find the money for him. I know, like, you're right when you say Mercedes is the biggest team with something to do. I'd argue that Aston Martin is the smallest team with the biggest ambitions.
The problem is, though, wouldn't Aston Martin actually finally need to get rid of Lance and get a second driver in, so they've got the team capable of winning the Constructors' Championship, which I think is what he would probably value more than the Drivers' Championship?
I think you're probably right. I only that team knows, really. Like, we watch Formula One every weekend. I think if the Aston Martin was all of a sudden on par with like the Red Bull is now, let's just say Newey does it again. He pulls a car out which is like half a second quicker than everybody else. I think you have the same situation now with Fernando and Stroll as you do with Max and Perez. I actually don't think Perez is a much better driver than Lance Stroll. I think Lance could bring the points home. He could drive the car to a finish, especially if it was a good car that handled well and was quick.
I was going to say, for Christ's sake, don't say bring home the bacon. They're Jewish.
No, I think he could. I think he could do his part, especially if you've got a driver like Fernando as your lead driver. That's always going to bring like the maximum points that car can possibly bring home with him.
I think Alonso might be gone, but by the time he had any influence.
I think you're mistaken.
He's got a multi-year contract now, hasn't he?
Well, let's face it. If he can start there next year, early next year, he like whatever the 26 car is will be in a Newey car. So Alonso will definitely still be in the team in 26.
Yeah, I suspect he would hang around for a Newey car, wouldn't he? I think the issue with Stroll is he's never going to be like your Bottas type character, isn't it? He probably would get some very good results in a Newey car. He would probably also put it in a wall quite a bit.
Yeah, I still think you do like Perez. I don't think he would be any down or upgrade from Perez, certainly for the last 2 years.
I think he's a downgrade from Perez.
From Perez last year.
I think his spirit's just a little bit broken. I think Stroll is a much weaker driver than a Perez in the same machinery.
His spirit doesn't matter if that's the results, though, does it? Like,
but you've got to
look
get
at Perez
results
this weekend. But,
he was bobbins. I agree. but
the gap between teammates, I would say like the two biggest gaps are. You can go back further background. Obviously, there's only so far Sargent can go back, or be behind Albon. But I think of decent cars with decent drivers in, the two biggest gaps are Max and Perez and Alonso and Stroll.
Just looking at the gap between Alonso and Stroll this weekend, which was 18 seconds, and the Max and Perez was 7.
Yeah, but let's not forget that Max drove through a bollard, and it has been known to be 30 seconds up the road from his teammate.
Perez got a penalty.
Did he? I thought Sainz got a penalty. That's why Perez is 4th.
What did I say?
You said
got
Perez.
A penalty.
Yes.
Stroll got a penalty.
Stroll did get a penalty as well.
No.
I mean, everyone got penalties this
Perez
weekend.
didn't get a penalty.
No.
Yeah, he finished 4th on somebody else's lack of merit.
Yes.
I don't think that Adrian Newey designs the Aston Martin and Stroll's all of a sudden better than he is right now. The car might be better, but you've still got Lance Stroll in it.
Yeah, but
If you've got an infinite Strolls on an infinite typewriters trying to create 7 world titles, 99% of the time they've been in it in the pit lane on the way out.
Do you think? I don't consider Stroll like hugely crashy.
He's not far off a race ban at the minute.
Okay.
Like, not as close as Kevin Magnussen, but he's close.
Yeah.
I don't think he's crashy. I think he's clumsy. I think it's awareness.
Yes, that's a fair summary.
Right. So this is my point, and the reason it would work better for him in a better car is because he would be around less people. It's like
time trial specialist Lance Stroll.
No, he's in the thick of the midfield right now. Is it? All I'm trying to say is that if it's a really good car, they can still win the constructors with an okay point scorer as long as their lead driver is hammering the results home. Last year, if Max wasn't Max, Red Bull lose the constructors. Max won that on his own.
Yeah,
absolutely. Last year was a complete outlier, I would say. I mean, the car was incredible. Max was as incredible as the car. You could have had Stroll in the other one that won the constructors.
It's an outlier, but it's not it's not unusual. Because look at the Vettel years with Mercedes. Look, it was with Red Bull. Look at the Lewis Hamilton years, like when they were swinging hammer with Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, Verstappen this year could be on for a similarly sort of dominant thing. Ignore the brake fire and the bollard. Not much else has got in his way.
True.
So yeah, that's all. I know. I know you probably want a slightly better driver than Stroll in the car, but that's what I'm just saying. As far as winning a championship goes, I don't think he's bad enough that it's a deal breaker.
No, I agree, but I don't think it's. He's not bad enough that it's a deal breaker, but I reckon more options being available would be more attractive.
Yeah.
If you said to them, we're going to poach Tsunoda or Sainz, you'll go, all right, fancy a bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much the new facilities would be a draw for Adrian Newey.
Man who still uses a pencil to design his car.
That's fair as well.
But what a pencil.
I mean,
they'll get him some great stationery.
They can guarantee the flattest desk he's ever worked on.
Listen, I just want Fernando to win a world championship. Stop trying to ruin it for me.
Really? You've never mentioned that before in 9 years.
However, I will say, this is like most of it's fun and
until somebody loses an eye
and a bit funny. But I actually think he's going to go Williams. That is I genuinely think I think the big chunk of the team would do good for him. A little bit of me wonders whether it will be big enough for next year for it to be running as Williams Newey Racing.
That would be a large amount of the team.
Tell that to Kick Sauber, Ferrari, and Cash App.
The crabs.
For Williams, would you have the same issue with the sort of the Lance Stroll situation with Logan Sargent? I think that's an easier thing to fix.
Absolutely not.
Like he's going to be there at the end of the season.
There is that.
There's more.
Do you mean Kimi Antonelli?
There's more chance of him going into next year going, who's this Lee Stevens guy?
Oh, God, if he's related to Will, we're not having him anywhere near the car. So, we're decided that we are completely undecided between us where he's going to go.
Yes.
Yeah, but between all of us, we kind of covered like every single option.
Yes. One of us might be right.
Yeah, can we just
Yeah.
get Flood on just for 5 minutes and say Sauber and then bugger off again?
It's going to be fucking annoying when he goes to Haas.
Look,
Oh, controversially, we didn't talk about the racing bulls.
Yeah, did we?
No.
Sorry, just quickly before we move on from Newey, I don't think Sauber's a fucking stupid bet either. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
think-
imagine if he won one with Hulkenberg.
and he still didn't get on the podium.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg,
Strongest fourth I've ever seen.
Hulkenberg finishes fourth in every Grand Prix and wins the championship by a point, being the fastest lap point. But not like I can, yeah, Sauber. You go, yeah. Well, he's not going to Sauber. No, he's not going to Sauber. He might go to Audi.
Yeah, because there will be Audi by the time he's allowed to start.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah. How much money are they going to throw at the new F1 team?
Who knows? It's kind of up in the air right now, isn't it? Just how serious Audi are even taking the Formula One move. I'm surprised. I expected Sauber to be a Aston Martin level car now.
Well,
You know,
they're,
sort of-
they're green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's all. That's about that's close. But I thought they'd be like in the points every Grand Prix, even like on the day at the right circuit, maybe even with Bottas putting like some sort of crazy front row qualifying in, something like that, just something at like an outlier. I didn't expect them to still be where they are, considering like they're going to be a full fat works team in 2 years.
Well, I mean, when they said, it's going to take a few more weeks for us to sort our pit stop problems out, it's like, what? How can you not just? Isn't that something you can sort out straight away? It's one of the most
it's something
vital.
you shouldn't have to sort out.
Yeah, it's one of the most vital parts of the race.
What have you done that's so left field with the equipment you use?
Is it their nuts
That-
and their
that
gun
this
don't talk to
happens.
each other? I think is their issue.
Well, surely you can just get a wheel gun that fits the size of nut you use, or a wheel nut that fits the size of wheel gun you use.
You would think.
Is that too difficult?
Maybe it's one of these things which is just a really good idea, which is being really difficult to implement. Like the first teams that started doing like the automatic jacks or the lights instead of the lollipops, because that everything that came in like that was absolute bobbins at first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think the big issue with
maybe
lights is I think the first team that did it were Ferrari, and they didn't do it very well because they're Ferrari.
No.
And didn't it? Well, are we allowed to talk about the ongoing court case because of leaving the pits with a fuel hose attached?
I like the idea it didn't work for Ferrari because every light had to be red.
Yeah, but every light would have to be blue now.
I think they should have gone with that and just had the car blue.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better.
Is that the color scheme from now on?
No, it's not going to.
No.
They've said it's not going to be as blue in the future. There will be hints of blue on the car.
Right.
But HP are now a title sponsor.
Because they took like one of the nicest looking cars on the grid and promptly fucked that right up.
It's HP. You can have the nicest piece of artwork ever, and you print it through a HP printer, and you'll still fuck that up.
Yeah, I love the way that instead of buying ink cartridges, HP have basically made their printers disposable. You can get them so cheap.
You've got to subscribe, and you now pay by the page. Which, bearing in mind how many times their printers jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next? The HP old rope. Anyway.
One very final thought on Adrian Newey. Say he goes to Audi. Say it becomes the 2026 title-winning car. Say Lewis goes to Ferrari and turns things around a little bit, or just sort of stays where it is and gets the podiums. Say Alonso does the classic Alonso thing of getting the podium here, there, and everywhere. Would Hulkenberg, Lewis, and Alonso be the oldest podium in F1 history?
Probably.
We're
About
getting there,
190 collectively.
I don't know. We'd need Statman
Statman.
for that,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
possibly it makes sense.
You have to think outlandish that Hulkenberg gets a podium, but you know, suspend disbelief.
I'm just
That
gonna
would be old.
I'm just gonna tweet him now and see if he's about to answer.
Urgent question.
Yeah. So, can you?
I do get Hulkenberg to Audi, like Button vibes from this move. You know, like all of a sudden 26 comes around, like, oh my god, like not only is he going to get on the podium, he's going to win the first race, and is he in the hunt for the championship?
Mm.
Yeah, let's get him on the podium first. Yeah, that's been the other big confirmed move now that the dominoes are toppling, with Hulk leaving Haas and going to Audi because they want a German driver.
What a turnaround for Hulkenberg.
Yeah, dumped.
Yeah.
Super sub, another year on the sidelines, back, and now going to a works team.
And crushing it as well. You know, like he is absolute MVP for Haas.
There's not a lot of competition.
No,
But I mean, Magnussen the year before Hulkenberg came back, we were talking about how great he was compared to Schumacher.
But we all say
Again,
this about Haas, don't we? It's a binary team.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Hulkenberg this year as you know, we're seeing him back in the old days, the Renault Hulkenberg, without hanging like a cow.
Yes.
Yeah. Or even the Sauber Hulkenberg, that 2013 year where he was dead handy.
Mm.
He was taking that rather meh car to 4th and 5th all the time when Gutierrez left it mostly in the tyres.
Was his main issue with that car not that they built it the year before when they had Perez, who's quite wee, and then they signed a Hulkenberg? So I think they spent like half the year just trying to figure out how to fit him into it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was talk of shin removal at one point.
He's an undervalued and underestimated driver, isn't he? I think that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
In all forms, underestimated hair game as well. I never bring up his hair, and you know it's never out of place
Le Mans winner.
on his own.
Yeah, that's a thought, because Audi are about to do things in WEC as well. So I wonder if he's seen a way back through to endurance racing through that too.
Maybe. I don't think Formula One drivers think about the out while they're Formula One drivers.
Well, no,
Some-
doing,
No, I think you're right.
no, doing it at the same time.
Oh, like an Alonso.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh
Does Le Mans
God,
clash this year?
2026, Hulkenberg becomes the Triple Crown winner.
He's got to get an Indy yet as well. Le Mans isn't his issue.
He tried Indy, it didn't go well.
Yeah, I think he did a test, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
He
yes.
did
I
that.
think there was a reason it was one test.
Yeah, it's called being sensible. It's like, get the fuck away from me with that thing.
They don't clash this year, F1 and Indy.
Yes, they do. Indy's always on the same day as Monaco.
What did I say? They don't clash this year, F1 and Le Mans.
I mean, if you try to do the triple in one season, that might be pushing it a bit. Thinking about it.
So
Bring on Fernando Alonso.
in his IndyCar test, it would appear that Hulkenberg was a second slower than David Malukas, who has just been dropped by McLaren without actually having ever driven for McLaren.
Is he the one with the hurty hand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, signs a mega deal with McLaren, breaks both his wrists, gets fired,
Mm.
and replaced
That's quite rotten.
by Teo Pocher.
That's quite rotten, but as we've learnt this weekend, McLaren have no morals. Thank you, good night. I'll see you later. Lee's dropped off the call, so that worked quite well. See you lads. Bye. Oh.
Has he? Oh, he has
Has
dropped
he
off.
actually
He has
dropped- where's
actually
he
dropped
gone?
off the call.
I
Where's
thought to
he gone?
myself, oh, I'm going to regret saying this. Oh, he's gone. Say it. Say it.
Oh, I hear a plink. He must be back.
Oh, right. He's also changed his name to Whoops.
Oh,
Was that you, or was that a cat on the keyboard, or was that another technical fuck up?
Let's just say, I definitely didn't accidentally close the wrong tab.
So, moving away from that bit that Lee's never going to hear because he never listens to this after we've recorded it.
Ever.
Well, bullet dodge, Kieran. Well, where was I going to go next?
I don't know.
I don't know. There was some
A race?
There is still a race to talk about.
Should
That
we
is true.
do the race?
There is. Well, it's become kind of an entire weekend to talk about now with all the sprint shenanigans.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing is K-Mag and defending.
Yes.
I enjoyed the weekend more for it.
He did provide the entertainment. It has, however, left him only 2 points off a race ban, and he has no points coming off that license this year. So
But
he
then
will.
if we swap one Magnussen for a Bearman race, I'm fine with that.
The thing is though, once you hit 12 points and get the ban,
Yes.
your points get wiped.
Yes, so there might be a tactical crash coming up.
Yeah. And then the opportunity to do it all again.
Yes. See, I think that probably is the smart way. Just get it over and done with.
Someone did say on a podcast the other day, is there a chance that he's got a kid's birthday which clashes with the Grand Prix and he's forgotten about it and his wife's angry or something?
Interesting. I mean, Almag is big, isn't she, on the internet? If he forgot about her birthday, that would not be well received, I imagine.
Yeah. Guys, I've got to get out of Canada. Why? It's a birthday. Well, you got a race weekend. You can't. Oh, fucking well.
Or it clashes with National Herring Day or something.
Dane Pack Appreciation Week.
Better forms of bacon are available.
Most of them.
Yeah.
So it's not that reason. According to the internet, Laura Magnussen's birthday is the 11th of January.
Maybe it's the kid. I don't know.
But yeah, he was. I mean, to kind of rock and roll phrase, he was throwing some interesting shapes all weekend. I mean, it's the first time I've seen a driver get 5 penalty points in one weekend since our Lord and Saviour Raganathan. I mean, he still holds the record with 9.
Yeah,
That is phenomenal.
it's impressive.
But
He's
that was when there was, that's F2 and there's 2 races. So technically on a race, then again, there was this weekend, wasn't there? Damn.
But look how much they tiptoed around Gasly when Gasly was about to get a race ban,
He now has a clean license.
which is shocking. He should have been banned when him and Ocon came together. I don't buy the excuse that, oh, it's teammates, it's fine, back in Australia last year. He should have got the 2 points, which would have equaled a ban because he caused that crash. But I genuinely think the stewards are afraid to ban somebody, and the whole rules about all of this is just, well, if you do something which will make us look bad if we don't ban you, then sure, we'll give you a ban. Otherwise, you're good to go, lad.
Unless you're Spanish, according to Alonso.
Yeah. I mean, look, no Spanish people got unfair penalties in yesterday's race. Oh.
I don't know whether it is like a conscious thing from the stewards or not, but it does feel like we are seeing more penalty point penalties this year. 'Cause, I mean, Alonso has 6 penalty points from 2 incidents.
Oh, and that shouldn't have, the one in China he shouldn't have got 3 points for that. How can he get 3 points for that? And Hamilton can play total wipeout and get nothing. It doesn't make any sense. The role of Lee tonight will be played by Kieran Thompson, I know.
I mean,
you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of Twitter with words like this.
Okay, so the role of Lorraine Kelly will tonight be played by Kieran Thompson. To quote Flood from our mid-race chat yesterday, I mean, Liuzzi was the driver steward, and he shouldn't be allowed to judge anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fair.
Fair point.
Spot on.
Abu Dhabi, Michael Schumacher, 2010. Look for it on YouTube. That crash had finished before he parked on Schumacher's head.
Yeah, I completely agree. I the thing with get the ex-drivers in as stewards, I'd understand it. This is going to sound harsh, but if they had a bit more success than they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not buying into the idea that the biggest injustice for me over the last 5 years or so was not Abu Dhabi 2021, sorry, but the 2019 it would have been Canadian Grand Prix, when Seb got that 5-second penalty for essentially going across the grass and rejoining exactly where he would have done. And that was Emanuele, is it Pirro?
Oh, yeah, Pirro.
Pirro. Yeah, well, let's look at his trophy cabinet. Oh, it's empty. And then you got Derek Warwick. I mean, no offense, I love Johnny. I really like Johnny, but no, I wouldn't put him as a steward. I wouldn't put Antonio Liuzzi there. You've got to get people like, I don't know, Prost, Mansell, maybe probably slightly more modern people like, I was about to say
Rosberg.
Rosberg, spot on Rosberg, Button. Kimi wouldn't do it, but champions or at least championship contenders. Webber maybe.
Would they want to do it though, or are they going to be earning more money by being pundits?
I think they should have to do some sort of jury service or, give back, community give back. You get a letter during the week going, oh, fuck, I've got Austria next week. I think that's how it should be done. Everyone, if you've come out of Formula One with some success, I was joking at first, but I'm more believing it now. I think you do have to give something back. And sure, there's a lot of regulation to learn, and I imagine it's not fun being on 11-hour business class flights having to read paper. But I think it's probably worth it.
I could see Vettel being well into it, actually.
Oh, I could see Vettel taking it too far. I'll see WhatsApp groups going, "Hi lads, thought I'd get a group going for Austria this weekend."
Well, isn't that the reason why Mika Salo isn't a steward anymore? Because he was actually sending WhatsApp messages to the Finnish commentator about what penalties were about to be given out, so they read them out first.
Really?
Yep.
Again, Mika Salo. Was Carter Cahan busy?
Yeah, I mean, the stewarding has been
abysmally not abysmal, but inconsistent.
I was going to say massively inconsistent this season. You can have two drivers making exactly the same move at the same corner. One of them gets a penalty for it, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
I think they need to look at how they steward the race and the sprint race completely differently as well. Because it was Alonso did Alonso get a penalty for a sprint race?
No. There was no.
Not this weekend, the last one.
The last weekend, yes.
Oh.
Yes, it was a sprint, wasn't it? Yeah.
That one.
If you're gonna make races shorter with less points involved at the back, like into the midfield, and say because they've got a race, so they're gonna have to try and get past each other, and then when someone actually tries to move, they get a penalty for it. You've made a mistake somewhere along the line. Like if that's the way you're gonna do it, then you have to take that and go, right, well, if we're going to have shorter races where it's a bit more frantic and people have to try and get past each other, we're going to have to go a little bit easier on them when it comes to penalties.
Yeah, because, I mean, they are just dishing them out like nobody's business. I mean, all right, it's not as bad as IndyCar. You do get the penalties within the same 24 hours. You don't have to work.
That's a new thing for Formula One, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll have seen that and thought, that's an idea.
Yeah, I woke up to a science penalty this morning that wasn't there when I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I had a late night. I saw it before I went to bed. It was about 2:00 this morning. It finally got announced.
Yeah, I was out by then.
I mean, the sprint results didn't actually come
What was
through
it
until running over Piastri's wing.
See, that's a racing incident.
It's bollocks, isn't it? It's not a penalty.
I felt bad for Piastri when it happened to him because he's, he'd run a decent race. Like, he disappeared a little bit in the middle, but he'd run a decentish race. It wasn't his fault that he was sort of had off a bit by the safety car. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but it's these sort of things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they were making out Sainz wasn't in full control when he turned and then turned too far.
He got a bit of oversteer, didn't he? He lost the rear end slightly, but not enough to quantify a penalty, I don't think.
And I'd argue that, okay, so he wasn't. He might not be in complete control of his car when something happened. He like you say, lost the back end a little bit. I'd argue that penalties like that should only be dished out when it's either really stupid or on purpose.
Yeah.
Like we brought up about Hamilton barreling into turn one during the sprint. That should have been a plane crash that took out 3 cars.
Well, Alonso was already hitting Stroll at the time when Hamilton hit him.
Yeah. but I just don't get it. I don't get what they're doing with it, because it feels like we go through this every few years. Every few years we get really heavy-handed with penalties, and then someone says, "Let them race," and then we have 3 races of complete chaos, and then it's back to the same thing again.
Yeah. Penalties, a bit like tyres, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't like 4 stops, make them more durable. Oh, we don't like 1 stops, make them less durable. It's you can't please everybody, essentially. Just can you get somewhere in the middle?
Well, apparently, no.
No, seemingly not. I think I have this horrible feeling about Monaco this year. I think Monaco is going to be a farce, not because it's going to be penalties everywhere, but because people are going to want to get out there and do something, and they'll be afraid to.
I think penalties are going to be so ridiculous in Monaco. There's going to be track limits.
There's K-Mag trying to bump a Williams into the marina. Wow, there's a car on that boat. Oh shit, there's a car on that boat.
Oh dear, pardon
Maybe
me.
that's the one K-Mag's going to get his race ban for, and he'll just be there floating in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Or he'll rent a yacht off Kimi Räikkönen.
Hmm.
Yeah, Monaco's going to be the only race of that triple header that day I'm actually going to be able to watch. I've got a bloody gig that night on a Sunday, so I'm going to miss Indy and I'm going to miss the Coca-Cola 600 as well.
Is that I was about to say Jack Jones just because I just read his name. Is that
Are you watching the
NASCAR.
snooker?
I just loaded Twitter and it just had Jack Jones there. That's for our American listeners, multicolored pool. Is that NASCAR, the Coca-Cola?
It is, yeah.
600? Yeah.
Yeah, I only watch that because it's on a super speedway, so they always have the big one. So 17 car pileups, that kind of thing. Anyway,
Nice.
shall we do the team by team?
Yeah. No, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think we'll have to start with Williams. Logan Sargent, backwards wingless in a wall. Well, he got K-Magged.
With some assistance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was definitely help there. He wasn't doing terrible beforehand. I mean, he got up to about 14th or 15th with the help of pit stops.
He wasn't setting the world alight, was
Oh
he?
no,
No.
not at all.
But it's his home race, so that gives you an extra 10th. So it was only 8 tenths off the pace of Albon.
Is it his last race?
Well,
No, I don't think it is.
I don't know. It's been Mercedes have officially denied that they're letting Antonelli go
This
to
is
Williams
true.
this season.
Which means it's happening.
So I was going to say we all know what that means. So
I think it's his third to last. I think he would have done Miami, he'll do Imola and Monaco, and then they might shoehorn in Antonelli in Austria next? One of the ones after. Canada. No.
I don't know. I think they might have Antonelli on hand.
You'd want him at a track he's raced at before, wouldn't you? Which, bearing in mind he's done Italian F4, Imola might be a shout.
But if they do put him in, is it going to be too much too soon for him?
It's 100% too soon.
Then again, the last driver to go from F3 to F1 was Max Verstappen, and that didn't really harm.
Was it, or was it Ocon?
I thought it was Max.
I would say it would be Stroll, wouldn't it? No, I'd say no. Yeah, it would be Stroll. Yeah, 2016 to 2017.
Okay, so maybe it's not going to work.
Bad advert.
Yeah.
It's going to be really rubbish for poor Logan if he flies back to Grove this week and goes, "Sorry, we've decided to let you go. We are bringing Antonelli," and he just goes, "But I was at Miami. I could have got on the bus."
So yeah, just looking at Antonelli's previous, he knows Imola, he knows Red Bull Ring. So yeah, one of those two I would
make
hazard
sense.
a guess. Yeah, you would want to throw him in on a track he knows.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be the first F1 season where there's two of the current F1 grid racing each other. In F1 where there's two of the current F2 grid racing each other in F1. I'll get there in the end.
Yes,
But
the Prema drivers, both of them. I think.
So yeah, Williams just weren't on it. Would we say?
No, not really.
It's odd because I think we've come to expect a little bit more from them now, haven't we? So it was a bit sad just to say, that's last year's Williams back again.
It was just a particularly shitty weekend for them.
Yeah.
There was anything more to it than that. It just didn't work.
Predominantly pants.
Antonelli is also not old enough to be in F1.
This is why apparently they've asked for special dispensation to get him a super license.
Doesn't
at
have
17.
the super license points. Doesn't have the 18ness.
It just seems
Doesn't have the age.
no. It just seems weird that Mercedes own him and a third party has asked the FIA permission. If that is Williams, are they going behind Mercedes' back? And is that a bit of a dick move?
Is it, or is it the sort of thing where Williams might have asked and Mercedes have said, "Oh well, we don't want to be seen to be doing that, but if you want to ask, we can't technically stop you," kind of thing.
I'm sure they've spoken.
They've 100% spoken.
Because they've already got a working relationship in the driver pass around front, haven't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they'll have already worked this out. I think if it's going to happen, it's a done deal.
Yeah, I think the Thursday of Imola week will. That's when the announcement will be, which is of course media day, so best day for it to happen.
Do you think they do for they'll? Excuse me.
Yeah, go on.
Do you not think they'll do it this week if they're gonna get rid of a driver?
I don't know. I think they'll wait until they're properly back into the European bit. I don't know why. I just think they will.
Be a good time to bury bad news, given F1 is on such a high on other stories right now.
I think we'd notice firing of a driver, though.
Yeah, sure.
I think you can spin this though, can't you? You can spin it really like the sacking of Logan Sargent will just disappear in comparison to, oh my God, Mercedes are so high on this Antonelli guy. They're giving him to Williams to get him in this year because he might be getting in the team next year. That becomes the story, and all of a sudden it's like, Logan Paul? No, he's a wrestler, mate.
He's a boxer, isn't he, at the minute? He was there at the weekend.
No, that's Jake Paul.
I thought they both boxed.
Kind of. Like Jake Paul's a supposed professional boxer.
Okay.
Yeah, the Logan Paul boxed other YouTubers.
Fair.
Got to know your Pauls.
Now, what is celebrity boxing about?
It's
mean,
more interesting than actual boxing.
I feel like the phrase celebrity boxing pretty much describes it.
That will do it.
Well, yeah,
Celebrities
okay.
who box.
Incidentally, if Williams have to wait for Antonelli to be 18, his first race after turning 18 would be Monza, which is also a track he knows.
Yeah, hometown as well.
It's just whether the FIA actually grant him the super license when he doesn't have the points and doesn't have the years.
Yeah, it's such a broken system, isn't it?
I don't know, because, I mean, it came in to stop all the shitty pay driver.
It came in because of Verstappen, though, didn't it? Who's now...
The age
like,
came in because of Verstappen, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the greatest Formula One driver of all time.
Yeah,
Or,
but,
in the making.
yeah, but the super license points came in because of UGE Day and Taki Inui.
Yeah. But, I mean, even that's kind of broken because, I mean, Lance is there.
Yeah, but he got the points because he...
FIA European Formula 3 champion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it. I get why it's there, but that's what I'm saying. It's like the points to get into Formula One don't necessarily are a guarantee of quality.
Yeah.
True.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you're right.
no, it's like Statman said a while back. You know, you get drivers who they find their maximum speed, and a lot of the time it's in a lower category, and F1 is just too fast for them. And yeah, you know, you can absolutely walk away with an F2 title. Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yeah, Stoffel. Markelov nearly won one.
Yeah.
Markelov.
Well, look at the. I'm still a big fan of George Russell's, and that's I still think, given the right situation, I think he can fight for a world championship. But like, he won the F2 championship the year he was in it with Lando Norris and Albon. Albon looked like really, really impressive in F2 as well, but now it's like Lando that looks like the most complete driver of that whole crop that came up.
Don't forget though, both George and Albon kind of got broken early on in their careers because George had the absolute fucking shed of a Williams to deal with.
Yeah, and he was in that Williams for too long too.
Yeah, and Albon got put through the Red Bull meat grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
You know, Lando is the only one of those three that is still with the same team that he came up with, and it's a team that's been developing and has allowed him to develop at the same time.
Yeah, McLaren have done a really good job of nurturing Lando.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's looking more complete because he's been given the time and the space and the equipment to be more complete, and the lack of Helmut Marko breathing down his neck.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah, okay, Lando is looking the most complete out of those three, but how can it be otherwise? Because he's had the most stability out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
And that's me making sense done for this week. Right, what team we're going to do next? Probably Haas, actually, with K-Mag in 19th, about a week behind everybody else due to penalties, and Hulk just outside the points in the Gutierrez position of 11th.
Did you see what Magnussen's safety car penalty was for?
Pitting and
Yes.
not changing the tyres.
Yes.
So, serving a penalty.
The irony being that he got, because they said there's no precedent for that. That's never really happened before, so they didn't know what penalty to give him. So they gave him a drive-through equivalent, which is what he did.
Well, he actually, I mean, when he got that penalty, he was serving the previous penalty
Yes.
because he had a 10-second penalty. So taking it under the safety car, great. 'Cause apparently there isn't anything to say you can't.
But you still
No.
have to do your tyres while you're there.
Yeah. I don't understand why the team didn't get a penalty.
They've read half the rule book there, haven't they? They've gone, no, we can do it now. We can do it now. It's fine.
Just didn't get as far as that you must change the
As
tyres.
part of a pit stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel that before all these penalties, it's just someone going, "Fucking watch this, Gary. It's gonna be fucking hilarious."
Yeah, I mean, K-Mag being the most penalised driver of the year.
10 points all this year.
Yeah.
10
I
points.
felt a bit sorry
10
for him for
points
the-
all in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for him about the unsportsman driver stuff that was thrown at him, because the problem's not K-Mag there. The problem's the rules. Like, the rules allow for that sort of thing. And, it's like teammates have helped each other out, like, ever since I started watching Formula One.
To be fair, he didn't get a penalty for that. They threw it out in the end.
Well,
But just like the fact that they tried to pull him up for like unsportsmanlike conduct, I thought it was real. It was really bad.
Trying to pull him up, not only trying to pull him up for unsportsmanlike conduct, but tried to crucify him because of what he'd said himself in an interview, that he was doing that to help his teammate.
Yeah.
Not, we think you've been dodgy. It's like, oh, you dobbed yourself in. It's like,
If that is your real name.
I mean, we've already had a rant about the stewarding, but we didn't even mention the unsportsmanlike conduct.
No.
You know what's next? 30 seconds for giving a bad interview. Lando's just been given a 3-place grid penalty at the next race for an F-bomb when he was talking to Jensen after he'd won.
He did get that shitty penalty for crossing the track, though.
Oh yeah, 25,000 fine with another 25,000 suspended.
Yeah. Don't
Oh,
do it
yeah.
again.
I mean, admittedly, it was a live track and he didn't actually speak to a marshal.
You can see if anything's coming, though.
True. Oh, and there's a point. What was Bernd Mailander doing, picking up Verstappen?
Force of habit.
Yeah.
It's what he does.
I was sitting there going, that means Lando gets a lap. That means Lando gets a lap. And then when they let him go, I was like, no.
But what that did do was, I was a little bit worried about this when it was happening, because did you notice the gap that Lando built when that happened?
Yes.
No.
Did you think he was speeding under the safety car?
I did.
So. I did
then
think you go a bit fast there, Lando.
yeah, because it went from like 12 seconds, didn't it, to sort of 25 or something like that. And
Yeah.
then my brain kind of came around to the idea, oh, is it because Lando's essentially driving under double waved yellow flags and everyone else is behind a safety car?
Which
So
I think is the case, because obviously you can't just drop to VSC speed when the safety car comes out, otherwise you'll never catch the safety car.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure there'd have been complaints about it from the stewards if he was going half a kilometre an hour over the limit.
I'm sure they're still going through the Team LH tweets.
But other than K-Mag's shenanigans, Hulk did have a good weekend overall.
Yeah, he had a very good weekend. Nearly double points.
Yeah, I mean, 2 points to Haas is like a win for any other team.
Yeah. No, that's an absolute result. Yeah.
You know, it means they'll get more prize money that Gene's not going to spend on car development.
How many are Haas up to now?
You will ask these awkward questions, won't you?
Sorry.
That
They'll be ahead of Williams and Alpha in the standings.
They are currently 7th on 7 points.
Not Alpha, Sauber.
Yeah.
Still relearning.
Because Alpine got their first point of the the year.
Alpine might catch that. Williams might catch that. I don't think so. I think they've already beaten Sauber for the season. I don't see them getting 7 points.
Celebrate like you've come 9th.
Yeah. It's a step up. They were 10th last season, they're 9th this season. Gunter who?
The Duke seems to be doing a lot better now he's gone, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, we need the comedy. Where next? Yeah, Sauber next. Anonymous again. They can be as neon green as the one, but 14th and 16th. Bottas tried starting the race on soft tyres.
Why?
Do much for him, did it?
Not really. Where did he start? He started
But 17th, 18th?
16th. So a net gain of sod all.
Who's
Yeah,
a bigger
one napping.
Who's a bigger waste of a Formula One seat, Valtteri Bottas or Lance Stroll?
Right now, I'd probably say Bottas.
I'd say Bottas because he's doing nothing. Stroll might get a result, might get a wall.
Yeah, at least it makes it interesting either
Yeah,
way.
there's a chance he's going to be involved.
I think you're asking what's worse, syphilis or chlamydia.
Unfortunately, I didn't have my phone with me at the time.
Actually, Paul knows.
Yeah, no, I didn't have my phone with me at the time. But when I was in Spain the other week, because I went to stay with my mum after we lost my dad, so I went to stay with her for a week, and Valtteri Bottas is the face of Acer computers in Spain.
Christ.
Why?
Right.
They have Spanish drivers.
There was a big 15-foot tall billboard outside an electronics shop with a picture of Valtteri Bottas holding a laptop.
Do you think the tagline would be like, Acer, we're not as good as we were in the mid-2000s?
Hey!
What, when they used to sponsor Prost? Actually, when they bought the engine naming rights for Prost, if I remember rightly, that was the Prost Acer.
It was a Prost Acer.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And look what happened.
who knew? Who knew before they started fucking fitting watches as engines? They were sticking laptops in.
Isn't the Prost Acer what Luciano Berti nearly got killed in?
Don't know.
You remember him? Belgium, helmet got ripped in half. Eddie
Oh,
Irvine
yes.
tried
That
to
rings
kill
a
him.
bell. His.
Yes, and
That was funnier than you
It-
think.
yeah, I mean the Prost car broke somebody's legs as well.
Oh, Panis.
Yes,
Yeah. First year.
yeah, it wasn't an Acer laptop that nearly electrocuted me. It was an Asus. So that would
Well,
have fitted. You notice how
indeed the Prost Acer.
you notice how we're talking about the Prost team and almost fatal F1 accidents rather than talk about what Sauber did this weekend.
Because we can't remember what Sauber did this
It's
weekend. We
more
didn't notice.
exciting.
It was some good banter though, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joe, do you think you are?
oh. Yep, they had a neon green car and a mullet, and now we'll move on to another team.
Cracking Uber ad though.
Probably Alpine next. A point.
Yeah.
An entire point. Which, I've got to be honest, is one more than everyone thought they'd have at this stage of the season.
I think it was
I
one
did-
more than we thought they'd have when they were going wheel to wheel because they looked like they were trying to kill each other.
It's
Oh,
Alpine.
yeah,
It's
that was
what they
brilliant.
always do.
That was excellent. That first lap was superb. I love that. You can't get 1 1/4 car through those chicanes. How did they get? Not only did they get 2 cars through, they got 2 Alpine cars through, driven by 2 people who bloody hate each other. Fantastic.
I mean, they're only 5 seconds away from getting double points. They actually finished 10th. Ocon was 10th and Gasly was 12th. But massive caveat here. I don't think that's down to their pace. I think that is down to other things going wrong for other teams.
I think there's a little bit of that. I think they are showing signs of improvement. They were better in China.
Which I haven't actually watched all of yet.
It's still on the box. You should watch it.
I know. I will get round to
Well,
it.
China was good.
But yeah, they are still bloody terrible.
Yeah, they are a shell of their former selves, but they have to take days like this as massive wins.
You know, are we gonna see him in the points again before summer?
Maybe.
Yes.
I think, yeah. There'll be shenanigans. There'll be weather. Weather is coming once we get into Europe.
If the fluke qualifying at the right time in Monaco, then
Yeah, they got a
possibly.
podium there last year.
Yeah, it's just how much they've dropped off. It still stuns me. You know how this is sort of Williams and Jordan levels of falling off. But
No, it's Renault levels of falling.
That's true.
but I was about to say we'll see who owns them next season, and then we'll see how they come back.
Hopefully, Andretti.
Yeah, we really need Andretti in there. Is he gonna buy them though with all the other investors they've got? And there's a caveat.
Andretti?
Yeah, and there's a caveat as part of the sale that you've got to use Renault engines for the first 3 years, and he's already in with General Motors, who are still working on an F1 engine for the 26 regulations.
I think Alpine will be in the position very soon where some of those like caveats in the sale can be nudged off to get it out the door and gone.
It would be good if that happened. I mean, personally, I'd like to see an 11th team in there. The problem is, though, for the last few years, the team in last place has always been absolutely fucking terrible. If they bring in an 11th team, it'll make the team in last place look even worse because they've been beaten by more. I reckon that's what F1 are scared of.
Added incentive to be better.
Last still last, though, isn't it? You can't be lasterer.
I think Logan Sargent's giving it a go.
And fair cop, but no.
And yet he is 21st in a 20 driver championship.
Again. But yeah, something's got to happen with Alpine, Renault, Lotus, Enstone, Benetton, Tolman. I think that's covered all of them.
Lotus.
Lotus.
How do you say Lotus?
Yeah, Lotus Genie Capital or whatever.
Yeah.
ApeCoin. Oh yeah, they've discovered NFTs.
Yeah, the classic Enstone team, isn't it? Hey guys, we got NFTs. What year is this? 2024. Fuck off. 2 years late.
Yeah, they've I mean, they're getting beyond a joke. We'll give Lee some room. Give Lee some room now. We'll talk about Aston Martin.
No, not a great weekend for it though, to be fair, so we can just skip over it pretty quickly if you want.
I think Alonso doesn't like that track that much. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was an odd off day for Alonso, out qualified by Lance Stroll as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's not. This is not the Fernando we're looking for.
I mean, you say that, but 2 years ago, at this very race, Alonso was being Lance's race engineer, and telling him what to do while he was mid corner, or telling the team to tell him what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
2 years ago, last year.
Everyone has off days. Maybe he was even more off because he was furious. Still furious about his penalty and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's all joking aside about him saying about the whole thing. Oh, it seems to be harsh penalties for Spanish drivers. I haven't actually heard him say the quote. I'd be interested to know whether it was like a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's just sort of like because of science as well. It's like seems to be harsh penalty for Spanish drivers. But I think if you take that comment away from it, you're just left with someone that is thoroughly upset about the way they think penalties are being handled. And again, this is one of those things, especially with Fernando being like the most senior driver on the grid. He's probably he has the most knowledge to say whether he's right or not.
I mean, he is actually having a meeting with Mohammed Ben Sulayem about national bias or nationality matters in F1 investigations. So I don't think it was a tongue. It may have sounded tongue in cheek, but I think there was a fair deal of seriousness behind it.
Yeah,
with what he said. It was in an interview with Spanish TV. Alonso claimed Hamilton wouldn't be penalised because he's not Spanish, despite ruining a few people's races.
I'd just like to point out and congratulate Twitter in the maturity and level-headedness that it took that quote. And there wasn't people with 44 and pictures of Lewis Hamilton as their profile pictures going absolutely ape shit for days. So just well done, Twitter. You did good.
Yeah, but I mean the upshot of that whole thing was it completely ruined Lando's Star Wars Day.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna be unpredictable but controversial here and say that Stroll turned in not seeing Alonso.
I think they both turned towards each other, not seeing the other one.
Yeah, I think they both went for the same bit of track. Hamilton goes for the bit of track he's going for, not realising Alonso is coming back because of the Stroll situation, and they just all end up in the same place.
Yeah, and Lando loses out.
Yep.
I think Stroll and Alonso had a racing incident.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lewis was going directly to the other side of the track, whether they were there or not. He was, like I mean, he wasn't even like an acquaintance of the apex at this point.
He had a huge gap though, like from the onboard. There's you would go for that gap. It's there.
Senna said it himself. If you no longer go for a gap, you are no longer a racing driver.
I think he went for the gap, but it was an ungettable gap. It was the type of overtake that required the drivers, no matter how big the gap was, it required Stroll and Alonso to evaporate, regardless of them having an accident between themselves. He was always going to hit one of those cars.
It's just that they were already hitting each other before he joined in. So it kind of saved him the bother.
That's kind of muddied the waters a little bit, hasn't it? Because they were already involved in their own little skirmish. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of it's two separate incidents that people are rolling into one incident. So that was just something that happened. But Lewis sent it into turn one. And I would argue if it wasn't for Alonso and Stroll having their thing, Alonso would have probably, because Alonso was on the inside, yeah. Alonso would have probably tried to defend more, and Lewis would have probably definitely hit him at that point.
Yeah. It might have been a much bigger crash as well.
Yeah. Fernando saves the day again.
I mean, we all remember Bottas bowling from Hungary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give Lewis his due. Like it wasn't quite Roman Grosjean levels of YOLOing.
It was a real sort of like, ooh, a gap.
Rather than the Grosjean, ooh, not a gap, but I'm going for it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Lewis seemed so relaxed and laid back and happy this weekend. I don't know what happened to him on the Thursday of Miami or something, but he just seemed like world's most chuffed loser.
Right. I mean, Lewis is known for liking the sort of occasional party location. And Miami is one.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It's probably primo Lewis, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget he's on his farewell tour.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is it. We're now far enough into the season that we know he's not going to be expected to really win anything this year because the Mercedes just is not there. So he can pretty much sort of Bottas it in for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you said to him, "Did you know Magnussen was purposely trying to hold you back so that you didn't overtake the Alpha Haas 2 years ago?" I think he might have nutted Craig Slater.
In
instead-
fairness, there's a lot of people that want to do that anyway, even when they're not under any pressure.
Yeah. But yeah, he just seemed laid back and happy, and hit Alonso. It was all fun, wasn't it?
I mean, the only time I've been in the same place as Craig Slater, I had to tell Lee, do not puke on him, even if you want to.
Yeah, I didn't feel well that day.
It didn't help sharing a cafe with Craig Slater.
No. Of all days to get food poisoning, crazy. I've never had food poisoning like before or since either. Just the Mercedes launch.
You were just that nervous because you were going to meet Bottas.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm just scared in case he was naked.
What we got next? Probably our...
No, sorry, it was clothed era Bottas. Wasn't
It was, yes. Yes, it was clothed, no fun, sensible hair.
Podium Bottas, also referred to as.
RB, probably next. V-Crabs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Brilliant one for Yuki on Sunday. Brilliant one for Danny on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the curse of the binary team starts again.
Well, Yuki was quite good on Saturday.
Actually, saying that, Yuki got points on Saturday, finished 8th. So, 3 good finishes out of 4.
Mm-hmm. And very quietly for Tsunoda as well. Like, he just sort of... I don't think he really kind of had any dramas. He just sort of did.
Yeah. There was that double pass that he made.
Yes, yeah. He seemed to arrive as other people were having drama and just drive past it.
Yeah, what was it? Hulk and Ocon.
I think it was... Yes, I think that would be about right.
Yeah, they were scrapping and he just saw a gap and just went for it and overtook both of them and let them carry on fighting.
Yeah. I think the only thing Tsunoda really did badly was that he had a dodgy squally, didn't he?
Let's have a look. What did he...
Or say he squallied about 15th.
Exactly 15th.
Yeah. But he still got points out of it, so, it's decent.
Yeah, I mean, gaining 7 places in a short
I think he was the big winner around the sort of the corner, the turn 1, lap 1 shit show. I think he sort of just was straight through there.
Navigated it, yeah.
But yeah, RB are showing flashes of getting things together. Danny was in a new car this week.
Yeah.
I think he had a bad race quali, which...
And a penalty.
And a penalty to deal with, starting plumb last, but he only qualified 17th. So, that didn't work as well. But he was getting racy again on Sunday. Saturday was just an incredible performance. That looked like the Danny Rick of old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was quite excited. I was really hoping that was the beginning of something. I actually stuck even though he was last with his penalty, I stuck a 5 on him to get points on Sunday. So that might have been slightly excited. But
they put him on hards, and hards at the start of the race just didn't work for anybody, really, did it?
They didn't really work towards the end of the race either, did they? Like, people were really struggling to get them switched on. So
actually, I feel like Alonso started quite well on the hards.
He was about the only one, but everyone was complaining, regardless of what tyres they were using, about a complete lack of grip. And you look at some of the slow-mo replays of corners, and nobody's back end was going where they wanted it to go. Everybody was sliding on just about every corner. And you know what? I blame the Porsche Carrera Cup.
Yes.
Right? Because every Porsche Cup race, regardless of where it is basically rich blokes that don't like polystyrene or fuel tanks.
Yeah.
So 90% of the track surface was actually cement dust.
Oh, I mean the second F1 Academy race, which followed out the Porsche Cup, there was so much shit on the track.
The one that got delayed for 20 minutes because they were
'Cause they
still
were
cleaning
mopping.
the track from the
Oh.
Porsche Cup.
I know that it was suggested that the softer tires were brought, and they went a step harder than what they ideally wanted to bring, and then those tires couldn't be switched on. But I'll be dead honest, I'm fucking here for it. I think whatever tire compound they think they should take to a race, they should go a step harder than it.
A bit of
it
tyre
was-
chaos does spice it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I like the fact that it's
So that means when they get to Silverstone, they'll be running on granite.
yeah. But the great thing about it was everybody struggled.
Yeah.
I think that's what I realized. It wasn't just like one team going, "Oh, we are right to see with the tires today." Everybody was struggling to get them switched on, and it just made for better racing. Again, it's an old joke, but you take some grip away with sprinklers or something like that, and all of a sudden you've got really good racing.
So compulsory Porsche Cup races before every F1 session.
Yeah, just dust the track instead of
It was-
cleaning it up.
it was like a
Sorry,
beach
we've
at
got to
one
dirty
point.
it.
More realistic than the fake Miami Marina.
Yes.
Which looks like the worst place to watch any type of race.
Yeah.
No, I
They're
think
not really watching it, are they? They're drinking it.
I think the worst place to watch the race was actually that little walled off enclosure on the final turn, because you can't see the track from there. You can hear the cars, but you have to watch everything on a big screen because there's a load of grandstands in front of it. But there's like a big area of sun lounges and a pool, but you don't see any cars for real.
Yeah.
You only got to see it on the helicopter shots. And it's like, what the hell? How much are people paying for that? If it's $230 for a fucking prawn sandwich,
$190 for a fruit salad.
Oh.
rant over. For now.
Fair.
Where now? Mercedes. Lewis 6th,
Oh, yeah.
George 8th. I think
Totally anonymous from George.
Yeah, I can't say I saw George
he was
there.
closing up a little at certain points and then just dropped off again.
It's not even a bad performance. It's just,
No,
he was just quietly there, and that was that.
I think
Unremarkable.
did he lose out through the safety car?
Yeah.
Because Lewis gained through the safety car, didn't he?
And Sonoda, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there was an issue there, but I thought the same thing. It was like, where was George? And like you say, it's not even a bad race because there was one car between him and his teammate, so it's not like he's just been done over by Lewis for the weekend.
Yeah.
It was just an odd one.
Yeah, I think it's where Mercedes are. They're probably the fourth best team at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've just had a message back from Statman. Switzerland 1950, oldest cumulative podium age 139 years.
Excellent.
Yeah, that is. I think that does Hulk, Hamilton, Alonso.
When was that? Sorry, Switzerland.
Switzerland 1950.
I like to hope that Statman didn't even think about that, and he's only just seen the message, and he just opened the message. And go, oh yeah, there you go. Bye, Paul.
He knows we record on Monday nights. He'll know what we're about.
Nino Farina, Luigi Fagioli, and
Louis
and
Rossi.
a French bloke.
and other things that sound like pasta.
It's good having Statman on tap.
Statman on tap.
But
You know me, I got Statman on tap.
But yeah, I think Mercedes are the fourth best team at the minute, and
Fifth if Aston Martin get themselves together on weekends.
well, I say team that involves both drivers.
Okay, fair.
Maybe the fifth best car, but the fourth best team. Or 4.5. How about that? So Ferrari next. Would have been a 3-4, but Sainz is Spanish, so he had to finish fifth.
Oh yeah, I feel a little sorry for Sainz because I think what Piastri did to him was tiny bit worse what he did to Piastri.
Oh, but
neither
didn't he
were a
whinge
penalty.
about it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did at one point. He said, "Speak to McLaren; they'll help."
Yeah, they will.
No, that's the opposite. That's not. They won't help. Guys, can you let our driver pass yours? No. I thought you'd help. You're mean.
Carlos, you'll never guess what they said.
And that was all before the actual incident that brought out the penalty. Because they were dicing for a fair few laps, and then he was whinging for a fair few laps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they got close again, and then it all kicked off.
I almost wonder if that's what the stewards saw. They saw sort of a driver being a bit stroppy, being a bit impatient, and then having a bit of a coming together, and have sort of thought, well, he must have not been paying attention because he was stropping.
Yeah, I get you. I hope not.
It
I hope
shouldn't.
that's not
It
where it's
shouldn't
gone to.
count
Yeah.
towards it.
It's
yeah.
a bit 1984 meets Minority Report, isn't it?
It's entirely speculative on my part.
We're penalising you for the crash that you're gonna have.
Hang on. Isn't Alonso upset about Minority Reporting?
Yeah, but Carlos is still in the same minority. But other than that, no actual Ferrari driver drama. Even the pit crew were wearing different coloured uniforms and they stopped in the right box.
They did a really good pit stop, actually, didn't they? They did like a 1.9 second pit stop.
And then a 3.9 second for Carlos
Yeah,
later.
that one was less good.
Yeah.
I think it was worse than Ferrari than I think you guys are thinking it was.
Well, bearing in mind, Charles got one practice lap, and that was his out lap.
Oh Christ! I forgot about that. Oh God!
You know, he binned it, and that was his only practice session done. So they actually went into squally.
I appear to have spun. I'm just going to try and shit. Right, if I engage, reverse. Sorry, Lewis, you go through. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I quit. That was awful.
My thoughts about the Ferrari thing are Lando gets in the lead. I know we're going to talk more about McLaren in a minute. Pulls out 7 odd seconds on Max Verstappen, who may or may not have had a damaged floor, and Charles Leclerc can do precisely cock all about him.
That is fair.
So how can like the Ferrari, which at one point we thought was like the closest contender to Red Bull, like not be able to move forward on to move forward on Max Verstappen when Lando's dropped him?
Ferraris aren't good at passing.
No, but they weren't close. Like he couldn't even keep them in DRS. So the potentially damaged Red Bull that Lando was legging it away from, Leclerc couldn't keep up with.
I know what you're saying. Like even on a weekend where strategically they've got everything right, they're still not good enough.
Yeah, and also on a weekend where Max Verstappen has done nothing but complain about the balance of his car.
Mm-hmm.
So a crappy Red Bull is still better than a fully powered Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Leclerc did fine. I think Sainz did fine. They just weren't particularly special this weekend.
Yeah, but I think he should have stuck with...
That was a cat fight, by the way.
After the restart, Leclerc should have been able to stick with Verstappen. He was in DRS. He had him. He was having no issues from behind. He should have been able to stick with that car, and I was because that was at one point I thought, well, this is great. Leclerc's going to win Lando this race because Verstappen's going to have to defend against him, and it's going to give Lando the chance just to bolt off into the distance. And it was it a lap, and DRS was broken, and the mid Leclerc was in full swing and force.
Yeah, I mean it was what 2.3 seconds at the end. It was behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was after Max had actually just eased off a bit for the last couple of laps. Was just
Yeah,
because
that gap was definitely bigger than that at one point.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ferrari. They're not the complete article. They are a set of complete articles.
That's fair, but if that Red Bull was damaged, then that's proper issues, for the rest of the season.
I don't know about floor damage. There were definitely a couple of the smaller elements missing from the front wing.
He definitely lost a chunk of the floor on the left hand side, like right at the corner by the back wheel, because I've seen the replay of that get taken away.
Yeah, I saw that on the bump.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so I saw something fly off, but then I saw something fly off the front as well, which I was concentrating on. But yes, maybe the Ferrari could have been better, but they weren't.
Oh no, absolutely. But I think on the surface it just looks like it wasn't too bad. They had a car on the podium, but under closer scrutiny, it was actually like it was a worser performance than it first seems.
Still better than Perez though.
Yes, who was back to being rubbish Red Bull era Perez.
Yeah, he just didn't have anything this weekend, really, did he? He was.
Do we think he's still traumatized from this track last year? Because that's where he went from being, he might challenge Verstappen to, oh shit, no, he ain't got it.
This is when I just thought I'm gonna have to find alternative commentary. I can't be doing with Crofty.
It's called F1 TV. VPNs are a thing.
Yeah,
I recommend it to everybody.
It was when Crofty said, "Oh, this track's one of Checo's favourites." It's like,
I don't
no,
think it is.
Bloody isn't. It's where Max mentally destroyed him last year by taking out a 20-second lead. Without even breaking sweat, I think I seemed to say at the time. Yeah.
Crofty's a strange fish, isn't he? He went from being that commentator where it was like he started like, oh great, it's like having one of us in the commentary box to, can somebody set him on fire?
I like Crofty, but I get it entirely. I totally understand it.
That's not something you say about someone you like. It's like, I like him, but I understand why you might want to ignite him.
Well, it's like a family member, isn't it?
Which of your family members do you want to set on fire?
Dead ones.
Ooh,
they're the only ones we ignite.
No, I don't.
Join us on the Patreon show next week when we're...
It's the hate list. Crofty has just tweeted a photo.
Is he on fire?
And it's to say goodbye to David Moyes because he's just announced he's going to be leaving West Ham in the summer. And the photo makes it look like, and he's sort of done this himself. It's a photo of him with David Moyes on the touchline at the Olympic Stadium, wherever they play, along with some other bloke. But it makes them, they're looking out into the distance, like puzzlingly, like they're watching the game go on and they're coming up with some tactics. But he's sort of like, he's hyped up to go, yeah, me and David Moyes, yeah, sad to see you go, mate. I'm a big fan, as if he was some sort of influential character in his life, as opposed to lucky kid who spawned a guest pass somewhere.
I mean, I started going off Crofty when he stopped dropping obscure Metallica references into his commentary.
The other person is Kevin Noble.
Oh yes, that would make sense.
Moving away from Perez, so Max is human then. He makes mistakes and doesn't win everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
And even brings out safety cars.
Yes, with his bollard.
Should have tucked it back in. I mean that chicane is notoriously tricky. It was the one that Lewis described last year as like a B&Q car park.
Well, Lewis was unhappy, wasn't he, after the bollard incident, because he then couldn't see it.
Yeah, because the bollard's right on the sort of crest of the bump. He was also unhappy with K-Mag during the
who wasn't unhappy with K-Mag?
I mean, one of the times Lewis was unhappy with K-Mag during the sprint was when K-Mag cut the chicane and stayed ahead of him.
I thought he was fine.
But, Max had absolutely no answer post-safety car.
Yeah.
Now, whether
damage assisted, but yeah.
Yeah, whether it was damage or not. But one of the classy things that Max did was in the driver's press conference. I think it was the bit after it was on TV. He spent about 2.5 minutes trying to dissuade journalists from saying that it was all down to the safety car that Lando got the win. And he was basically bigging up Lando massively, which I thought was a quality move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought this, watching the interview with him afterwards, there is something, we've had this before with different different drivers where they keep winning and it does get a little bit boring, and like Vettel, sometimes they can get like an air of arrogance about them. I personally think that Verstappen comes across as like a pretty genuinely nice bloke, and I bet of all the drivers, he would be one of the best ones to bump into.
Yeah, well, he's one that Brundle said that he'd like to most go for a drink with.
Yeah,
just don't bring your dad. Max, not you, Kieran. Your dad is obviously legendary.
He's all right.
I'll just wait till Liam Lawson's driving full-time in F1 next season.
I'm so glad he works Saturdays now.
Who, your dad or Liam Lawson?
Both.
But, yeah, on to the nicest shock of the weekend.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Well done, Abby Pullen.
Lando was our first driver that we had on the show. Oh, first Top Series driver. I think Dave Daddario was technically our first driver.
Mm.
But Lando.
Ooh, shade thrown at Dave there, but carry on.
Our first Top Series driver, because Lando was about to drive in F2, and at the time Dave was in Formula Atlantic, which is about
not cancel the shade.
which is about which is a couple of steps below.
I just meant like real driver.
Yeah, our first, driver.
Yeah, I got that. I got that one wrong. You know what I said about no retakes?
I don't, because my internet cut out.
Lando was the first driver on the F1 aiming for the F1 grid that we had on the show. How about that?
Yeah.
You
pulled that back.
I did. We've been following his career basically for the last 6 years since he moved up into F2, and it's just great to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, Sky did one of the lie detector pieces with him, and one of the questions they asked was, "Are you going to win a race this year?" And he said yes. Didn't realise it was going to come so soon.
It correctly identified it was a truth, though.
Yeah.
It's just exciting now to see, like, where this goes. Like, how much? I mean, obviously he had he had some luck with the safety car, but like, let's not pretend that they kind of screwed quali up and stuff like that, and but Red Bull were worried about McLaren this weekend, and if that car didn't have something extra now, he wouldn't have won the race because Max Verstappen would have just drove around him. Like last weekend, for instance, this same scenario happens. Sorry, in the last Grand Prix, Max Verstappen still wins.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Brown said this was practically a B-spec car. It was a new chassis, as well as
See the list.
As well as quite a lot of upgrades.
Heard the list.
Yeah, I saw like a picture of the list. And you're like, that's like all of the parts.
And in fairness, Piastri was doing well, and he only had half the upgrades. I think he gets the rest of the upgrades in Imola.
Yes.
He does go napping though, doesn't he?
He does occasionally.
I like Piastri, and this is definitely not an I like Lando Norris, so I don't think, I don't think Piastri can do well because I like Lando, because I'm not that sort of fan. But yeah,
hashtag Team LN.
Sorry.
Hashtag Team LN.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think, regardless of that, I don't know whether he would have won the race, but regardless of that safety car, Lando finishes ahead of Piastri.
Well, Piastri had to change a wing.
No, but without those
that.
incidents,
But without that, he was quicker.
Yeah.
Well, you'd hope that happened because Piastri didn't have the most up-to-date parts on the car.
Yeah, but it happens every weekend. That's the thing. Or most weekends.
I think Piastri's got a decent future.
It's still only a second year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's got a very good future. But I did expect him to be. I don't know, hassling's the right word, but I expected him to be closer, and I do feel that since McLaren dropped Ricciardo and got like another driver which has got sort of some swagger to him, I think Lando's found another gear since Piastri's come in.
Well, yeah, because he's not the young buck anymore, is he? There's somebody else in the other car who's younger than him and has got all the hype, and Lando's had to basically make the move to be team leader.
Yeah.
And it's either it's do or die, and he's doing. Absolutely amazing performance. It's great for McLaren. Hopefully they'll kick on from there.
Yeah, I think I don't think this is the start of something, but this is evidence that if Red Bull have a dodgy day or Max has a dodgy day, it's no longer a Ferrari or Perez. It could very comfortably be a McLaren, most likely Lando.
Yeah, I think
Mercedes aren't getting anywhere near that.
No, I think the podiums are going to be split between McLaren and Ferrari.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we'll have to see.
And Perez.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Yeah, I think if Ferrari. No. It's sorry. I only stopped because I was getting my own words right in my head. I think if the pace of the McLaren looks as it does, Ferrari might find themselves shuffled off the podium more often than not.
I think there's a good chance of that happening, and once it's happened a couple of times, it's only going to get worse because we all know how bad Ferrari are at playing catch up. We've got to do something, and we'll probably do something extreme and either get it half right or completely wrong.
Yeah,
because they do panic.
I have Adrian Newey next year anyway, so
only guaranteed from the second quarter and maybe a bit of the first.
Yeah.
We shall see. Right, something we haven't done for a while: Rockstars and Wankers. I'm going K-Mag for Gene Simmons, bit of both.
Gene Simmons everything award.
He's a bit of a Gene Simmons, that lad. I like that, and I'm using it.
Lando for Rockstar, obviously.
Yes.
Sonoda.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Danny Rick, Saturday Rockstar.
50% Rockstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of keen, that sort of thing.
I'm not sure I'd call that fucking.
Piano rock.
First album editors. I'm putting K-Mac down for Rockstar because it annoyed a lot of people.
In the wanker category, the FIA for letting Trump in.
No, don't start that. I've seen a load of people that
I
are...
like winding people up.
I mean, he is one of the
Yeah.
few people who could afford a ticket.
Leave politics out of it. Joe Biden is as unwelcome as Trump at that point. Just
What about
leave
Nadine
them alone.
Dorries when she
true.
turned up at the British Grand Prix?
Oh, God. Hey, can I come in now? God.
Yeah, but she probably thought she was going to a car boot sale and took a wrong turn.
Oh, no, bless her. She was desperately trying to
Talking
get
her
Martin
models.
Brundle's eye, and he was not there for her. Possibly just didn't know who she was.
I mean, to be honest, when Trump turned up in the McLaren garage, Zach Brown probably went, fuck me, he's more orange than we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turned up in team colours.
Is he? I can't see him.
Full kit wanker.
I'm surprised he didn't do the trophies, to be honest.
I really thought he was going to do a Putin and crash the
invite
cool down
himself.
room.
Yeah.
I was
No,
surprised by that.
I don't. Not to get too political about this. I don't think they should let him in. Not on the basis that he's clearly not a good advert somehow for a audience out there, but in a just seems.
I don't
naff.
think you can turn around and say you're not coming into a sporting event because you were president.
No,
And
I don't. I think it's because he's about to go into an election to become president.
Maybe would you think the same thing for like RFK or something like that?
Who's he or she?
RFK Jr. also running for president.
Yeah.
Oh, Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aaron
but
Rodgers
he,
bloke.
yeah, but he would just stand in the middle of the track and say that fuel injection is wrong.
Yeah, I guess the thing that winds me up is that I slightly care about Trump, whereas I don't really care about Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, but I mean I don't know. It doesn't. None of that stuff offends me. Like in any
I
way,
wouldn't say I'm
shape, or form.
offended.
Oh
I just-
no!
I
I know
think
you're
it's
not
just
offended.
Naff, you know.
And it's I think it would have been different if it was a different place, but it's fucking Florida, man. Like they're all voting for Trump. There was not one voter swung because he went to the Formula One.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And can I just say for the third consecutive Miami Grand Prix, I would love to thank Pitbull for not turning up.
Yes.
Yes. That we are all grateful for.
Yeah.
I think that about does it for this week, doesn't it? We managed to do 2 hours. I'd call that a solid comeback.
Yeah, I think so. I can't wait for the next race. I'm really fucking excited because all of a sudden it feels like there's an unknown again.
Yeah. I was thinking that yesterday. It's like last night. I was like, I'm excited about Formula One again.
It feels like stuff can happen.
Yeah.
And of all the teams I want this to come from, a Lando-led McLaren.
I know.
Oh, this
Yeah, it's
podcast writes itself. Right, if you want to get in touch, we are at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on the socials, and the new account at Ginger the Tenerife Cat, which is all about the cat that adopted me when I went to my mum's a few weeks ago. It's not my mum's cat; he just moved in and adopted me. You can email us 3legs4wheels@gmail.com and individually on Twitter, X. I'm just sticking.
Elon chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sticking with Twitter. It's a lot easier.
At Sean Cowper.
At Kieran is boring.
At the Lee Stevens. Sorry, I think I need a new lead for my microphone.
I did hear some crackling there.
It
lasted 2 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't our mic leads for once. seeing as I've just bought a load of new ones. At Pablo100 and at Flood21. If you want to help us buy Mike Leeds, you can go to Patreon and sign up there, patreon.com/3legs4wheels, and sign up from £1, €1, $1 a month. And keep everything crossed. We will be back next week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I won't be back next week. I'm going to see Taskmaster.
Fucking dare you.
Fucking hell.
Some of us will see you next week.
Of all the excuses.